guys, it's Melanie. So today I'm going to be sharing with you just some of the skincare mistakes that I used to make in the past. These are definitely just some of those mistakes because I'm sure there were many other egregious things that I used to do that just were not great for my skin. So I really started stepping up my skincare routine when I reached my 30s. I thought I had a pretty decent routine in my 20s, but looking back, I did not. And certainly when I was in my teens, a couple of these mistakes are from back in my teen years. But since stepping up my skincare game, I have just noticed a huge difference in my skin. Now, the things that I use and what works for me may not necessarily work for you. Everybody's skin is different. Mine happens to be extremely oily. It happens to have enlarged pores, and I'm getting a little bit older. I'm 40 now. And I don't really necessarily break out, but I am prone to blackheads, which is mostly because of these enlarged pores. So I thought I would go ahead and share some of my more, I think, egregious skincare mistakes that I could just kind of think of off the top of my head. And yeah, just kind of wanted to get your guys's feedback on skincare mistakes that you have made in the past, and then maybe listing like what your biggest skincare success was, or what product was it that you started using that you felt like made the biggest difference in your skin. List that down below in the comment section. All right, I'm gonna start with back in the middle school days, which were the early 90s for me. So using a lot of products that had an insane amount of alcohol in them. So I'm looking at the old Seabreeze and Noxzema from back in the day. I don't even know if that stuff is even still around. I don't really do a lot of perusing in the drugstore skincare aisle anymore, so I'm not sure if these items are still available, but just using a lot of alcohol-based toners was a huge mistake of mine because it just dried my skin out even further and made it even oilier, like a lot oilier. Next, using Clearasil or other products that had benzoyl peroxide. So back in the day, I didn't really realize that there was a difference between salicylic acid and benzoyl peroxide. I just remember my mom buying me the Clearasil stuff because I think that's what she saw commercials for on TV and was like, here you go. Like, here's this bar of benzoyl peroxide soap and here's this tube of benzoyl peroxide stuff to slather all over your face. Benzoyl peroxide is not a good fit for my skin. It dried my skin out like to a painful degree, and it made it really flaky. And then because I had dried it out so much, once again, I started overproducing oil even more. For me, salicylic acid is a much better fit. I really find that it does not irritate my skin. It keeps my pores super clear. It deals with both my blackheads as well as any like pimples that I might get during that time of the month or anything like that. It just works much better for me. So for me, benzoyl peroxide was a huge mistake, and I think I overused it as well. I mean, I was slathering the Clearasil all over my face every single day. That was probably not its intended use, but I wasn't just like spot treating with it. I was going ham. Not using SPF. This is probably the biggest thing and probably the most dangerous thing. I was one of those girls that loved the tanning beds. I mean, if you grew up as a teenager in the 90s and the early 2000s, tanning beds were still a huge thing, and I knew it wasn't good for me, but whenever I used them, I did not use SPF. And whenever I went out in the summer, I did not use SPF on my face at all because I wanted my face to get tan. So obviously not smart for a few reasons. It's not great for like the aging process, and Cancer, melanoma. I don't actually know my biological father very well, but I do know that he has had melanoma. He's had it a couple times. And there is a genetic connection, with melanoma and offspring. So I go and get yearly checkups with my dermatologist to make sure that nothing is changing. There is one little mole that she is watching, and it's on my bottom. So I can't really see that one. So I really rely on her and her yearly scan to look at that thing and make sure it's not changing. But not using SPF on my face was a huge deal. Now, every day, first thing I put on, it is the most important. Head to toe SPF. All right. Some of you may still be using these, the Biore nose strips. I used to use these all over my face. And the thing is, they do pull out this, oh, there's Penny. Oh, and Mr. Kong. They do pull out the occasional blackhead and sebaceous filaments. That's often what you see on the Biore strips. But they can really damage your skin. And I did notice that I was starting to get little like broken, I don't know if they're capillaries or what they are, but the sides of my nose. The glue that they use is very strong, and sorry, she's still wearing that cone. It's very strong, and it can it can cause damage to your skin. And I mean, I was using these things like all over my face, and they were just very satisfying, but they can also damage your skin, especially in, delicate areas. So if you are prone to rosacea, if you have very delicate, sensitive skin, and really, I probably don't think anyone should be using them, but yeah, that was a huge mistake of mine, and I definitely regret it because I do have to cover up those little broken capillaries or whatever they are on the side of my nose for sure. And I was most aggressive with the Biore strips there, so I'm pretty sure when I was ripping those off my nose, because they don't come off willingly, I was causing some damage there. So anyway, not the best thing to use. Just using my fingers to wash my face is another one. When I got my Clarisonic back in 2000, I think it was 2011, I noticed an immediate difference in my skin in terms of how much cleaner it was after washing my face. I used to, and this is another thing, I used to not wash my face long enough at all. I would literally put the soap in my hands, not doing a double cleanse because no one really did that back then. And I would literally just do this on my face for like maybe 20 seconds. On a day where I was being generous with my time, maybe 30 seconds. But literally just this, and then I'd rinse it off. And then I would use a toner, and I would always wonder why my toner pad, like the little cotton pad, always had just a ton of leftover makeup and just dirt and oil. Like I wasn't actually removing the makeup, the dirt, the oil, the bacteria from my face. I wasn't washing it long enough. And what I was using, which were just the pads of my fingers, it was not getting deep enough into my pores. I know there's a lot of people that don't like the Clarisonic, and if you prefer the Foreo or some other cleansing device, I really think that made a huge difference for me. Immediately, I noticed that my pores were less clogged. Nothing was really left behind after my cleanse. My skin was just cleaner and fresher looking overall, and I wish that I would have spent the money on a Clarisonic sooner, to be totally honest, because it was just such a game changer for me, and I have used it consistently since then, and there is not a night where I don't use it. I only use it once a day. I don't use it in the morning. In the morning, I do typically just wash my face with my hands because I'm just getting off like product from the night before, and I'm not looking to get super deep into my pores for that. But I do spend a little bit more time really massaging my skin with the pads of my fingers, and I spend at least like a minute and a half in the morning washing my face. It's not a quick like scrubby. So, But yeah, not using a cleansing device at night and not cleansing for long enough to really dissolve all that dirt and oil and bacteria was a huge mistake for me in the past. And then lastly, and really honestly, there could be way more than what I'm mentioning right now, but in the interest of not having this be like another one of my crazy long videos, I think a mistake for me was not starting retinol sooner. I didn't really know much about retinol, but when I did start using it, it made a very big difference in my skin. BHA made a huge difference in my skin. Niacinamide, as you guys know, made a huge difference in my skin. But I really wish that I would have started hitting the retinol much earlier, that I would have started tretinoin maybe back when I hit 30. I really think that there can be a lot prevented in terms of aging by using, not only having like a good skincare routine overall, something really solid. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be 85 steps, but just a good solid routine where you're incorporating products that are helping with stimulating your collagen and keeping your pores clear. I really wish that I would have started that much sooner. And retinol is a huge game changer for a lot of people. I know people that have been on it for years and their skin looks absolutely beautiful. And for me, I think had I started it earlier, I wouldn't have had as long of a journey to get my skin to where it was when I started, like this much more extensive routine that I have. I think retinol is a really great ingredient, whether you're just using retinols from, you know, Sephora or Ulta or whatever company you're getting your retinols from, or you're using like a tretinoin or something much more, I don't want to say aggressive, but you know, like more medical grade skincare. Just start using something, because I feel like it just made such a huge difference for me. You know, and certainly ease into it. It's not something that you want to start, you know, slapping on your face on a daily basis, because your skin's going to need some time to adjust. Even with like over the counter or drugstore stuff, you know, it can irritate your skin. But I really wish that I would have started that sooner, because I think that it would have helped with a lot of, you know, the issues that I was dealing with back in the day. So those were the kind of top skincare mistakes that popped into my head. I totally want to know what skincare mistakes you guys made back in the day, or gosh, maybe it was only a year ago. Maybe you just started your skincare journey, but what do you wish you would have started sooner? What do you wish you wouldn't have done? What do you wish you would have done? I'm always curious what your guys's answers are as well. So let me know down below in the comments section. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I really appreciate you, and I will see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.